Thanks for that kind introduction, Carrie. I'd like to thank those responsible for putting together today's celebration. And I think that behind my respect for the veterans, I've got an awful lot of respect for Mike Brady. Any man that can pull off wearing knickers like that successfully deserves our respect. I want to particularly thank those most responsible for our liberty to exercise our First Amendment rights to speech and to freely assemble and celebrate today at all. Today we're all here to celebrate and appreciate our men and women who have served our great country as part of our nation's armed services, our veterans. I'm honored to be here today, and I'm here in three distinct capacities. I'm here as a citizen, like many of you Tea Partiers, to celebrate the activism that is the result of so much anguish over what our federal government has been doing. We're here today to summon the enthusiastic and revitalized spirit of patriotism we saw exhibited in the various Tea Parties, like those in Greenville and here in Boiling Springs and so many other places across this country. We're here to further ignite the passion we saw in the hearts of more than 1.5 million patriots that went to Washington to participate in the wildly successful 9/12 March on Washington, which I am proud to say I participated in along with 2 of my 5 children. I'm here as a citizen to commemorate and honor our veterans. It's because of our veterans and their sacrifices that we are able to rally in Washington on September 12th and to celebrate that victory here today. For the men and women who have served in the defense of freedom and liberty, Veterans Day has a twofold significance. Like other patriotic Americans, we honor those who have worn the uniform in defense of our country. It also serves as an opportunity to once again consider the reasons why we served and to appreciate this democratic republic we call America. As many of you also know, I'm here in the capacity of candidate for Congress, but that is a topic for another time, because today we're here to celebrate something much more important. So today my remarks will not involve a campaign speech. If you're interested, I encourage you to please stop by my booth down here to the right and check out the information. Today I want to share from my heart my love for this great country and to try and put into words the passion behind the commitment of one who has served for the last 30 years to uphold and defend the Constitution of this great nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I'm here today as an Air Force veteran and an active member of the Air Force Reserves. My wife, Lori, who is also an Air Force veteran, would like to be here today, but she's currently on a missions trip to Romania. We are humbled and honored to be counted among those noble patriots who have throughout the years given of themselves in defense of our freedom and liberty. I entered the Air Force not long after our veterans began returning from Vietnam to a country that, quite frankly, dishonored their service and failed to recognize their sacrifice. About that time, a former actor and governor named Ronald Reagan became president. Although he was not a veteran, President Reagan had a deep and abiding respect and affection for the men and women of our armed services. He reinvigorated the nation's respect for our military and for veterans and renewed our nation's self-confidence. The cross-section of comrades in arms I've encountered through my years in the military has been simultaneously unique yet constant. It has been unique in the sense that I've served on active duty with some whose service began around the end of World War II, or who served in Korea and/or Vietnam. It's been unique in that I've been an active reservist long enough to serve alongside warriors young enough to be my children. Each of their military experiences was different. Each served at transformational times in our nation's history. Yet the cross-section has been constant because throughout the nearly 30 years affiliation with the armed forces, the very same attitude of selfless service and patriotic devotion to duty has remained faithful, never wavering. This has been true throughout the years of conscription and the all-volunteer military. It has been constant in that since the birth of this country, the men and women who have served in the profession of arms have all given up their freedom to preserve ours. All gave some gave all. But today, my fellow veterans, it is with a heavy heart that I must inform you that your service is required once again. As patriotic citizens that exemplify the American exceptionalism that is this country, who possess a unique perspective and appreciation for the cost of freedom, we need you to engage in the battle once again. Not necessarily to don the uniform again, although after 9/11 some did, but rather in service and defense of our freedom. Throughout the course of our country's history, we have fought the enemies of liberty time and time again for not only our freedom, but the freedom of others around the world. Our nation is under attack from within, through corruption of the political system by career politicians, lobbyists, ignorance, and voter apathy. Are we now going to simply lie down and surrender our liberty, our rights, our very freedom to our own government? Here. The days and years ahead for citizens in this country who, like you, believe in the principles and values upon which America was founded will require that we exchange our comforts for the cause of liberty and freedom. I challenge veterans to once again lead courageously and boldly into the fray for the defense of our American way of life. Within your family and your personal sphere of influence, reach out and tell of the importance of freedom and liberty and the cost. Educate them. Tell them the truth, because our schools are failing us in telling the truth about our American history and its foundation and its Judeo-Christian values and the importance of the Constitution and why our founders wrote it the way that they did, such that the average citizen could read it and understand it and not require a degree from Harvard or a PhD in constitutional law in order to understand it. Be of influence. I'm appreciative of all of you who have come out today to celebrate not only the March on Washington, but to also celebrate Veterans Day. But if you look around, our numbers are not quite as large as they ought to be. We need to step out and engage people of like-minded faith and like-minded principle and tell them of the importance of this time at which we stand. We are at a crossroads as a country. We have one group of people that believe the government is the answer to all of our problems, and the rest of us who realize that they're the source of most of them. Lastly, I encourage you to find every person you can talk to, find out if they're registered to vote. And then I ask you, next election day, get out and vote and make sure that they do the same. But do so as an educated voter. As I close, I'd like to ask one thing of everyone here today, regardless of whether you are a veteran. I ask that today, with respect to the veterans still among us, and in commemoration of those who are gone, that we honor their service by taking a moment to consider carefully the first part of the oath all members of the armed forces take upon entry into the military. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. So help me God. To all the men and women who have donned the uniform of this country's military to defend our freedom and liberty that we Americans enjoy today, my sincere thanks. May God bless you, veterans. May America always honor and be worthy of your sacrifice for our freedom and our liberty. Thank you very much.